we have it recorded, David? Okay. It's the most important component of dairy and beef farming. And this component is calf management, but particularly focusing on development is the engine. The rumen is the engine of your dairy or your calf, your beef farming. It is actually the engine. The rumen is what processes every raw material that an animal takes, a ruminant takes, to convert it to growth, to convert it to milk, to convert it to meat, to convert it to the body defense, and to reduce wastage through cow dung. Therefore, anybody who wants to make the most of milk from their animal during their lactation stage, anybody who wants their animals to grow very fast, starting from the day they were born, anybody who wants meat to be processed very fast by the factory so that you don't go into 2 years or 1.5 years or 3 years before your animal is converted, before your beef animal is converted into milk production, that animal, that person must pay attention to rumen development. A cow called a ruminant because it has a rumen. The rumen is what distinguishes ruminants from monogastrics or other animals. And a cow has a rumen because it cannot digest or utilize anything that they feed on unless that thing has first and foremost fermented. Whatever a cow takes will take between 20 and 40 hours fermenting. So now then extraction can take place. When we bring cows or animals with good genetics and do not help them to develop and the rumen sufficient to match the genetics that we have brought, in most cases, we only achieve 1/4 of their potential, whether it is in growth or potential in production of both milk or milk. How do we ensure good rumen development? There are certain things that are required before a rumen can develop sufficiently. Those chemicals, those biological chemicals and those other processes may be complicated. We have developed in a company called MolaPlus. And I want to tell you what this technology achieves. And this has produced results that are completely uncomparable. It is because we sought to understand what goes into fast rumen development and then effective rumen development. And we established that the most one, then villi or papillae, they are inside the rumen of a cow. If you slaughter a cow, you will realize that there is something in the rumen of a cow that looks like a towel. And then the rumen of a cow appears to have some pockets where something seems to take place. If you go and slaughter a cow and you realize that the rumen was having a very good population of villi or papillae that are covering everywhere. Those things that look like a towel. And then you just slaughtered an animal that was producing very high amount of a lot of milk, an animal that was growing very fast, an animal that was converting feed very effectively, and an animal that matured to give a good body, big body within a very short time. Because that rumen, the populated rumen with villi, was an indicator of efficacy in the system of that factory, in quotes, a dairy or beef cattle. I want to explain to you what happens when a cow takes something, say a lump of feed. It could be total mixed ration that we refer to as TMR, or just Napier grass, or maybe Boma rods. When an animal takes it takes it inside the rumen. Then it mixes, it lives there to ferment, it brings it back into the mouth, it mixes it with saliva and goes back to the room, back to the rumen again. What has been eaten by an animal moves into those pockets inside the rumen. And then look at my hands. Whatever, when it goes into the pockets that has a lot of villi, that has well-developed muscles, the muscles contract like this and squeezes what has gone there that had mixed with water and the nutrients that had been digested. And then the nutrients get sucked into the system of an animal. Whatever remains are residues that are slightly drier than what went in. They come back into the rumen, mix again with more, and then through the villi, the papillae and the walls of the rumen, the nutrients that are packaged inside what the animal has digested seeps into the inside system of an animal. It moves from pocket 1, 2, 3 up to the end, and then it goes out as residue that will manifest as cow dung. To understand this process, I want you to imagine that you woke up in the morning and realize that the socks you wanted to put on were not washed. You dip them in water, wash them, and then you roll them inside a good quality towel. You roll that in a good quality towel. And then you squeeze the towel with your socks inside. You remove. It will appear to be drying. You put it in another place that is drier. You roll, and then you squeeze again. Or it will, by the time you do it 3 times, it will be dry enough to be put on. Simply because there's so many fingers on a towel provide a large surface area where when it comes into contact with water and all that, it sucks the water from the towel and leaves the towel drier and drier and drier at every other stage. That is the very important process inside the rumen of their cows. So when a calf is born, after giving her colostrum, you focus on developing that. You focus on developing that rumen to have a lot of papillae and to have muscles that are well developed to start squeezing the juice from what has been fermented inside the rumen, so that that juice that has the energy, the protein, the minerals, the trace elements, the vitamins that are supposed to provide growth, provide body defense, and so many other things will easily be absorbed and utilized. So we have a product called MolaPlus Early Calf Winner. That product, when you get, hello? Yes, there's some noise. Somebody's making some noise. Maybe they could mute their mics. That product, when you give a small powder of it, you get your calf to lick it day one. You take like 1 spoon, the calf licks, and then you give it a liter or a glass or 2 of water. Day 2, you give more of it again, and the calf will lick and lick and lick, and then you give maybe 2 to 3 glasses of water. Day 3, you dip that, you get good quality fiber, maybe some grass, cut it and heat it, chop it and heat it a bit with some piece of wood against another piece of wood. After you heat it, that calf, that fiber will be soft and nice. You dip that fiber in water, mix it with this powder that is MolaPlus Early Calf Winner. Mix it nicely and let the calf lick both the powder and the grass. The powder and the grass until she finishes day 3. When she finishes, give her about 2 glasses of water or 1 liter of water, 2 to 1 liter, or maybe 400 ml to about 1,000 ml of water. But meanwhile, you are continuing to give milk. After you have done that, you get your calf again day 5, day 4, day 5. You keep on increasing the amount of the powder and the amount of the grass, the amount of the powder and the amount of the grass. By day 5, you will see your calf is chewing cud like the mother. By day 7, 8, 10, the calf will be doing very, very well, and it will make the calf behave as if she is a mature animal. At that particular time, day 10, the calf will have started increasing weight by between 1 kilo and 1.2 kilos or more per day. Milk increase is as a result of reliance on milk, which she is absorbing and utilizing, and reliance on feeds that are sufficiently being broken down and utilized. So the extra that is there, obviously coming from milk and meat, milk and feeds, makes the calf to grow. Happens. When that happens and you are a farmer, you will now start knowing that you are on course because your animal is appreciating very fast. Your animal is utilizing feed too early. Your animal is looking healthier and giant. At 30 days, the calf will be using, the calf will be feeding between 3.5 and 4 kilos of normal feed every day. Too early, but too effective. And she will be digesting very, very well. On this product, your calf will never diarrhea. She will resist diseases very easily. And then by the time you reach to 40, 45 days, because you'll be eating over 4 kilos of feed, normal feed, you start reducing milk. And at 45 to 60 days, you completely wean. When you wean that calf, you must remember again the question I asked you. What is it? What is the raw material of growth? because you want your calf to continuously grow. What is the raw material of milk production? Because the mother must continue producing milk. What is the raw material for meat if they are bulls? And what is the raw material for making sure that most of what the animals feed on is utilized? When that happens, you make sure that that particular animal, you make sure that you are providing what the calf requires to grow. Part of it is to make sure that your animal is getting a balanced feed. And I want to mention here that don't just feed your cows. Don't just feed your calves. Don't just feed your bulls or your steers that you want to turn into meat. Do not just feed them. Make sure you are feeding them with the raw materials that translates into growth, that translates into milk, that translates into meat, that translates into health, that translates into many other things that the calf requires to be productive. Now, I will let you know here that whatever makes the dam or the mother to produce more milk is the same thing that will make the mother to come on heat on time. And it is the same things that will make the calves to grow fast. And it is the same thing that will make the steers or bulls to grow very fast. There is some very funny concept. I think it is as a result of a lot of academics, where people say that you have to feed these animals differently, feed the other ones differently, and feed the other ones differently. And I want to tell you that where I sit, it is more of trash. Because I want you to imagine that you are a mother in a home, and you have daughters, you have sons, you are there yourself as a mother, and there is the elder man of the home. If you elect to cook different food for your girls, and you cook different foods for your boys, and you cook different food for yourself, and you cook different food for your husband, then moving forward, ensure that in your dairy farm, or in your beef farm, or in your combined farm, you make sure you prepare different feed for bulls, different for cows, different for all this. But as long as when our girls feed the same food that we all eat, if they don't develop beards, and yet they are girls, and if boys don't develop breasts, and yet they are boys, if all the men don't become like ladies, and old ladies don't become like all the men, and yet we are all feeding the same well-balanced meal, think twice. You never get to apply fertilizer on your products, on your farms differently either. The rule of nature is the same. Let us just know that we need to focus on what is right to be fed and make sure that we supply sufficient amount of the same. Now, if once you have weaned your calf, ensure that together with good quality energy, that is a requirement for growth and milk, in addition to good quality protein, in addition to good quality minerals, in addition to good quality trace elements, in addition to good quality vitamins, and in addition to good quality water and the same sufficient, you also need to assist your animal to digest all these things that you give them. Once you have done that, then you have actually achieved a very interesting thing that will give you a lot of returns in your dairy farming. How do you go about it? Make sure you supply that and on a daily basis and in every meal. Then your calf will continue adding weight at the rate of more than 1 kilo per day. And for those of you who have interacted with our products, and if you have interacted with them properly, we have a product called MolaPlus Milk Booster. MolaPlus Milk. When you use it for milk, for lactating cows, it increases milk production. But the same product, when used on calves that are growing, it makes the calves to grow at a very high rate, and they continue increasing weight by over 1 kg per calf per day. And the same calf, MolaPlus Super Milk Booster, that increases milk, that makes calves to grow faster, shortens the period slaughter weight, the period a bull or steers take to attain slaughter weight. When you have done that, you can also use it to boost the immunity of your animal. And you can also use it to lower the amount of cow dung that passes through the system of a cow and digested. Now, when you pay attention to those details I've talked about, at 7 months or at 8 months, your heifer will show the first sign of wanting to come on heat. Continue feeding her well, but do not serve her. At the 9th month, she will show another very forceful sign of wanting to come on heat. Continue feeding her well, but do not serve her. The 10th month since she was born, she will really want to be served, because you are feeding her well, you are taking care of her well, and you are providing the nutrients that make her grow and come on heat on time. Do not serve her at 10 months. Because she has been growing very fast and adding weight on a daily basis, at around 11 to 12 months, serve her without any fear. She will be a huge bull. She will be so huge, you'll almost think that she is a giant. You can serve her at 11 to 12 months so that she delivers in under 2 years. And so that in her lactation, she will give you between 25 and 35 liters in her first lactation, and above 40 in progressive lactations. Ideally, she can even attain 60, 70, 80 liters per day. But if they are bulls, if they are steers, and they were born on 1st of January, in under 10 months or 11, 12 months, you can be able to sell them as prime animals for meat production. And you can actually earn a premium price, because they will be very huge, very healthy, and very nice looking. The same would be converted to be used for purposes of semen, as bulls for serving your herd on the farm. As long as, again, you don't mix them up, to serve their sisters or their mothers. Now, once you have paid attention to that, we will want now again to pay attention to actual nutrients provision. And I will ask that when we have time, We will talk about actual nutrient administration of our animals. And after we have digested what I have talked about today, I want to respond to as many questions as possible. David will help us to schedule another meeting, and we can talk about another category, another item. And I would prefer, if it pleases you, to generate the topics so that I can address the immediate challenges that you have, so that we move together. But we have lessons that we can learn and are going to learn on this platform that can take us a whole year without running short of what we can share. Because we are only talking about some of these things in passing. When we pay attention to specifics, it won't take us too long before we really become wealth creators through dairy and beef farming. I want to ask that somebody could ask a question or seek a clarification so that we know what to address. Any question? Any question? Are people there? David?
Yes.
Are we there?
Yes. So just hoping that our farmers will be able to ask questions.
Anybody confused?
I see Madam Alita.
I think so.
Yes.
Maybe spell the virai. I don't know. I know these words. they're a problem. So
yes, no problem.
Could you kindly spell the name Vira and the papillus, or I don't know whether it's papillus or something. Yeah.
Vilai is VI. I think LEA. Yeah, just whatever you find, you can Google rumen. Rumen, you can look at rumen villi or something like that, or papilli.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yes. Any other question? Has the session been helpful?
Are there quantities for cows and quantities for the adult animals written on the sachet? I've not taken time to read it in full. So now, since the babies, the calves can also take the MolaPlus booster, milk booster. So
now the MolaPlus. Yeah, the MolaPlus milk booster, any calf that is above 3 months, particularly because it was not started on early calf winner, at 3 months, you can now start giving a handful, only 1 handful of MolaPlus super milk booster per day. You can maybe give half handful in the morning, half handful in the evening, or 30 grams in the morning, 30 grams in the evening. But up to 7 months. 7 months and above, you give 2 handfuls per day, a handful in the morning and a handful in the evening. Now, why 2 handfuls in a day? Why not just once? Why don't you just give 1 handful, 2 handfuls in the morning and leave? It is because that product is very concentrated. With everything inside there is organic, yes, but it is a very heavy concentration. If you give a cow 2 handfuls in a day at once, the cow will more or less be like, it will be loaded with nutrients that can appear like the animal you are stressing her. So give 60 grams in the morning, 60 grams in the evening for any animal that is above 7 months. But if you are milking 3 times, like a liter I think is doing, you give every time you are milking. And again, Halita, do not mix with anything. Fill the hand and put it on a trough for an animal to lick without mixing it with anything. Now, many farmers will ask and say, but they are all going to the stomach. A lie. What happens is this. If you want to know, there is something very special, particularly in ruminants. It is called the saliva. Saliva, a rumen, a cow, a good-sized cow produces in excess of 180 liters of saliva in a day. Reason is saliva has a lot of key products, chemicals that enable an animal to effectively utilize what they feed on. It is high when you put MolaPlus Super in contact with the tank of a cow, it encourages salivation, and a lot of saliva come out and mix with that product. When it goes in the rumen, it has the sufficient chemicals that are required to break it down further and quickly turn it into great power that will promote milk production, growth, meat, health, and digestion. Now, even look, anybody who understands even human beings, they tell you, you take solid as food in your mouth. But if you want to be very healthy, and if you want to really feel good, take time and chew every food so that whatever you put in your mouth as solid, you are supposed to chew it and swallow it when it is liquid, because you mix it with enough saliva to drop it down. You will start feeling you'll have a very different feeling over a week or two. You will realize you are now doing something very strange, simply because nature, or as designed by God, gives us a lot of things that are supposed to make us better than we are when we utilize them properly. Saliva is very important. MolaPlus Super in contact with the tank of an animal causes a lot of that salivation, mixes it with the saliva, goes inside and produces serious results. Have I answered your question, Alita?
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Thank you.
So should it be given when milking, or it can be given at any other time, as long as it's spaced into for the milking animals? I mean, as long as it's divided into 2 portions, should it necessarily be given when they're doing the milking?
You could give it before milking, you could give it during milking, or you could give it after milking. As long as if you are milking twice, you give it twice a day. If you are milking 3 times, you give it 3 times a day. Is that answered?
Well understood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And always we are available. Whenever you have a query, we will always stand and stop where we are to address the query, because that is our calling. Any other question? Any other members here? You seem quiet. Is it because you followed or you didn't follow? Or okay, any observation, any comment, any fear, any anxiety, any concern that you have over what we have shared today?
For me, I think on my part, it's very educative, loud and clear.
Thank you, Alita. I want to presume that other members have actually benefited, and I want to return the meeting to David. David, you pick it up from there?
Okay, yeah. No, I just want to appreciate you for taking time to run us through, and it's my hope and prayer that the farmers that joined in have benefited. But if some of you who joined are not on the MolaPlus group, please you can let me know. I think I'll post in the chat my contact address so that then I can add you to the group. We do have these sessions that are meant for capacity building to ensure that we gain the insight that is needed for us to be successful in whatever field we are venturing in. And also just to let you know that we do have the products that Henry is explaining on, the livestock microbes, the poultry microbes, and the VM microbes for crops, as well as poultry. So you can get in touch, and we have them locally, and we'll have them at any other given time. So you are not left alone. We work together. I think the promise that we made is that we will take the journey together with you and be able to address some of the challenges that you may face, because the whole idea is capacity building, as already said, and then that you must realize the benefits from your investment. Thank you so much. I think that's where I'll end, unless there is any more comments from the team.
And David, I hope you're going to share the video this time around. I hope you've recorded the whether it is a speech or video. I hope you recorded.
Yes, so the recording is done. The first one has already been saved, and it automatically saves after the session. So I think in the next 1 hour and 1 minute or so, after the session is over, the recording of the second session will be done, and then I'll be able to share on the group.
Thank you so much.
Before you go, I forgot one question.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the issue of the powder for the cows. Now, for those cows that did not take the powder on the first day and stuff, does it mean that it should never be given until we start the one for the adults that, or they should just start with the adult one if we missed the one for the cows when they were born?
Now, what happens, Madam Anita, is that rumen develops from day 1 to around day 90. That is the period within which you can manipulate the rumen development process. When you can manipulate the rumen development process to your advantage. If you miss out on that, a cow will definitely develop a rumen. And particularly depending on your feeds, and again, particularly depending on what time you started feeding your cow things like cereal